Hey, y'all. Hey. Guess what? It's time to come on in for some Monday morning motivation. Why? Because sometimes on a Monday, you could use a little motivation. So, yes, I understand that it is Monday evening, but guess what? It's still Monday, so we can still get motivated. We can still grab this good information. So, let's get started. Let's get motivated. Yes, today was crazy. So, get the motivation while you can, because guess what? I'm sure you still need that motivation. Y'all, in order to move forward, sometimes we just got to move forward. And I think you saw that my move was in caps. So move is an acrostic. That means it's an acronym, and we are going to flow with it because sometimes when it's time to move on, it's hard. It's hard because you're used to doing what you're doing. It's hard to do it because you're just in a place and you thought that that was a good idea at the time. But sometimes, y'all, you have to change paths, you have to change courses, you have to change the trajectory, and only you can do that. So, in order to move forward, sometimes you just have to move. What do I mean? The M stands for you have to have a motive to move. That means you have to have a reason to get going. Is this course of action not working? Is it causing you more hurt than harm? Is it costing you more money than it's making you money? Is it costing you emotional health, mental security? Is it costing you financial security? You have to have a motive to move, and you usually have to have one. So find that motive, stick to that motive, and then get moving. The O stands for opportunity. You have to see the opportunity is now. Sometimes we see an opportunity but are afraid to jump at it. What is an opportunity? That means the situations have aligned themselves, the environment is right for you to take advantage of it. Again, when it's time to move, sometimes it may hurt. It may seem to be uncomfortable, and sometimes we don't see that as an opportunity. Somebody suggested it like this, or they gave a good analogy. When I go to the chiropractor, I'm usually in pain and I need an alignment. So when I get to the chiropractor's office and the alignment may not feel good, but guess what? In the end, it's going to turn out to work for my good because I needed an alignment. I needed to readjust. So that's how we have to see the reason or the motive in taking advantage of the opportunity to move. Sometimes, y'all, we got to take advantage of the opportunity, even if it doesn't feel good. Sometimes, again, it's not comfortable to have to change, so we don't. But if the opportunity is right, y'all, sometimes we need to get on it. So again, to either move forward, you've got to move. M, you've got to look for that motive. You got to go ahead and solidify the motive. Oh, you have to see that there's an opportunity. V, you have to have the y'all, I have forgotten the V. V, you have to, Lord have mercy, y'all, I'm having a brain moment. You have to, let me see. M, have the motive. O, opportunity. V, you cannot do it vicariously. Sometimes we're trying to do things, y'all, through other people. We're trying to do things through a season, through a family. We're trying to do things through our job. No, sometimes you've got to move yourself. Not sometimes, most times, y'all. In order to move, that's speaking of forward motion. That's considering that you got to be able to be mobile and go from point A to point B. So you cannot do it vicariously through someone else. Like, oh, I see them doing it, so I'm going to see how it works out for them. No, you've got to really put stuff in action for yourself. So, M, you have to have the motive. Oh, you have to see that there's an opportunity to do so. V, you cannot do it vicariously. And E, you have to execute. The only way, y'all, to get going is to get going. Sometimes it comes up with having a plan. Sometimes it comes up with having a timeline. Sometimes, y'all, it's just jumping on in and adjusting as you go along. But you have got to execute. Sometimes, y'all, the best way to move forward is simply just to move. I know sometimes it's painful. Sometimes, I've been in this job for so long. I've been in this relationship for so long. It's going to hurt to move because I have emotional ties. I have financial ties. But again, is it benefiting you? Have you figured out the motive for or the opportunity cost of staying in or versus jumping out? And so, y'all, we have to sometimes just get going. Like I said, when you get to the chiropractor's office, that's the analogy I just used. Sometimes that appointment hurts. It hurts at the moment because you came and you were already in pain, but you knew you went there because you need some relief. The same with movement, y'all. Sometimes in order to move forward, you just got to go. You have to identify the motive. You have to seize the opportunity. You cannot do it vicariously. You can't do it through others. And then you have to execute a plan. Yes, take a moment, come up with a plan, and that might make it easier. It still may not make it always comfortable though. So y'all, we're always looking to do things in comfort, but life doesn't always work that way. So we've got to get to a point where we can execute. So in order to move forward, y'all, sometimes you got to just move. You've got to understand your motive, take advantage of the opportunity. You cannot do it vicariously. E, you must execute. You have to come up with a plan, a strategy, a timeline, and then just do it. You know, when you're jumping rope, y'all, you kind of have to time it, right? You got to time it. Jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out. But then you got to get to the point that you really have to jump at some point. You really got to jump in order to say that you're jumping rope. You're doing the double dutch. You know what I mean? You've seen it on TV. If you haven't, if people aren't double dutching as much these days, Google it. YouTube it. You'll see it. Anyway, y'all. It is quarter 2. It is April. That means we've got to keep going. Pull out that vision board if you need to. Pray if you must. Get an accountability system and a mentor. I strongly suggest that. And you've got to move. The only way to move forward is just to move. Remember, understand your motive. Seize the opportunity. You cannot you cannot do it vicariously. You must actually execute because that's the E. You got to jump in, just like the double dutch. You can't just sit there on the sidelines. At some point, you got to jump in. Okay? Y'all, this is Monday Morning Motivation. I understand. Yes, it's in the evening, but it's just as good. Rewind it, share it, be motivated by it, but by all means, get moving. Happy Monday.